Our guest today is Patricia Neal, called one of the 10 most admired women in America. She's had a remarkable career as an actress on the stage, in the movies, on television, and more than that, she's had a remarkable life as a fine humanitarian, relating to in 1966 when she had a series of massive strokes, and she's recovered from those, and now she's certainly affecting the way people are rehabilitated in that area, in many areas. So we're going to talk about the two phases of Patricia Neal, her acting phase and this rehabilitative phase of her life. But first of all, we want to say welcome to Montana, Patricia.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, and I'm so delighted to meet you. You know, I saw you on Broadway in 1960 when you were in The Miracle Worker. You played the mother.
Oh, yes.
And was Anne Bancroft, Helen Keller?
Anne Bancroft.
She played the teacher, Annie.
And Patty Duke played dear Helen Keller.
Yes, and then she went on to play Annie in the movie, didn't she? Yeah, Patty.
And also Patty did.
Right.
And I unfortunately got pregnant the opening night of that play, so I didn't stay in it for long, about 4 months, I think.
Right. But that was a wonderful play, and I know you enjoyed being the mother in that.
Oh, yes, I love it.
I want to talk a little bit about The Fountainhead, one of your early movies in 1948 with former Montanan Gary Cooper. And I know you had a very special relationship with Mr. Cooper. What was he like as a person? A lot of us just think he said yup and nope a lot. Did he do that?
No, he was a bright man. He really was. I just adored him. He was the love of my life, really, you know. And I forget how many years we were together, about 4 years, I guess. But he was a heavenly man.
He was a very handsome man, and he certainly left his mark in the movie industry.
Oh, yes.
You bet. Now, another movie, of course, that made you very famous was HUD. You received the Academy Award for that, and you have a little miniature statue on your chain, and that's the small Academy, that's the small Oscar.
Yes.
HUD.
I forget who gave me this.
Oh, it's just
that.
wonderful. And what was it like to receive an Academy Award? A lot of actors and actresses, including Henry Fonda, for example, have never received one. And you got one, early in your career.
Well, unfortunately, I was pregnant at that time.
Again.
So, pregnant again, like always. And I could not collect it, because I had my baby in about 2 weeks' time. And dear Annabella, who is the French actress, married Tyrone Power once, she's a great friend of ours, and she was in Hollywood, so she collected it for me.
Oh.
And then I was up for another one, and the subject was roses. But I lost it that time because Katharine Hepburn and Barbara what's her name?
Streisand.
Streisand,
Yeah.
she won it. But anyway, I've been up for 2.
Yes, and it's a wonderful honor, and I'm sure you're very, very proud of it.
I'm very happy.
You bet. So your life was going along very well. You were very successful in the movies and on the stage. And by then, by the middle 60s, when you had your initial series of strokes, how many children did you have by then? And you had a good marriage? And
Well, I had 2 daughters, and then I had a son. And unfortunately, my eldest daughter died of measles when she was 7 years old. So I could hardly wait to get pregnant again. And about 4 years later, I guess I had Ophelia. And about 15 months later, Lucy was born. So I've had 4 girls and 1 boy.
Right. But did you have any premonition that you would be a victim of a stroke?
Oh, no.
It just happened. Were you in production of a TV show?
Yes, I was doing not TV, the John Ford film, and he was such a beautiful man, and I would love to work with him. But I think they had to put it off for about 2 weeks. Now, I was pregnant at the time, but no one knew it except my husband and me. And after the 4th day shooting, I came home and I went to give my daughter Tessa a bath. And that's when I had it, when I was giving her a bath. And of course, I was taken to the hospital that night and operated on that night, and I was not expected to live.
You had brain surgery, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
You had an aneurysm. And
yes, I had 3, do we call them aneurysms?
Yeah.
Three of them. And I was unconscious for about 21 days after that.
And you were pregnant all this time?
Yes.
And did you had that child?
Yes.
Even though you were so ill?
My husband, he told Dr. Charles Carton that I was pregnant, so then somebody else knew. And, but I forgot what your question was.
Well, we were just going along with the evolution of your illness, and so you were unconscious for 3 weeks.
Yes.
And then you became conscious, and we've heard so much about the role your husband played in your recovery, and that of
Yes,
using
he played a very important
using
role.
amateur therapists. I mean, when you woke up, you couldn't speak, and you were paralyzed.
And I saw double, and I could not move, and it was just horrendous.
So
but
as you
it
sit,
didn't vanish at once.
No. So as you sit here on this program, all these years later, a restored person in most respects. I mean, you can speak. You're not paralyzed. I think your walk is a little bit affected.
Yes, and I'm blind in the side of this eye, and my hand is not perfect. I mean, my arm is not perfect. But and a small limp. So.
But it was the amateur therapist approach that your husband initiated with you that has now been picked up in clinics throughout England, and there's even a Patricia Neal Rehabilitative Center down in, is it Tennessee?
In Knoxville, Tennessee,
Yes.
my old hometown.
Yeah. So would you like to mention this, how it worked with you? These people just worked with you a lot and encouraged you to speak and helped you walk?
Yes. Well, I know that when I was in California and I was sent home, my husband, he got a speech woman to come and help me, and he got a woman who massaged me. I did exercises, and I know that when we went home, Lual, he called for a nurse to be sent by the government, and a woman came and she said, I can only spend 15 minutes a week with her. And my husband said, that is not nearly enough. So he got the people around the town to come and work with me. And they were very good. I mean, I would start at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd have 2 hours off for lunch. We worked till 6 o'clock in the evening. But then when I had Lucy, she was born in August, then about a month later, a lovely lady came into my life called Valerie Eden Griffith, and she was so good, and she loved it, so she did it all then, from then on, and she was a beautiful teacher, and we played bridge, we played croquet, questions, it was fantastic.
So it was more of an evolution then of coming back.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you would have, what would you have to say to people out there who might be experiencing something similar in their families of a loved one who's had a stroke and they wonder, will he or she ever be restored?
Well, I do think that, it's a great idea for all towns. I mean, I don't suppose a tiny one, but all towns, they should have, I don't know what I call it, but a club for people who have had strokes, because you need people. You need people so much, and you have to learn to think again, to talk again, to walk again, and if people would give 1 hour a week, then there's also an idea of starting a club so that once a week they can meet for the whole morning or the whole afternoon.
And be a support group to each other.
That's right. That's what you need.
You bet. Now, what about Patricia Neal today? In addition to going around the country and giving talks like you're here in Montana to do, are you going to be doing any new things in the movies or on television?
I hope so. See if you can get me one.
Yeah.
No, of course I love to act, and film I would like, and television, and I like going around making these speeches. And I just got a house in Martha's Vineyard.
And then you have a
I had
home
it
in
last
England
year.
as well?
Yes. And but the house in Martha, I will move there in May, from May till October, and it's lovely.
Well, you're lovely, and it's really a thrill for me to meet you in person.
I've loved being with you.
Thank you.
Thank
We've been
you.
talking with Patricia Neal, and we hope that she's inspired you as much as she's inspired us. Thank you, and continued good luck to you, Miss Neal.
Thank you.